do that to your dog.
You can buy her clothes. I'm not going to.
Don't do it.
I'm working on clothing you people.
All right, commissioners, we will start. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year to our guests. First, thank you guys for being here today with the torrential downpour and the heavy wind. Let's start off with just doing an introduction of commissioners. I guess I'll start. I'm Nicole Battle. I'm sitting in for our chair, Harry Spikes.
I'm Eric Holcomb, the Executive Director of CHAP.
Catherine Good, Commissioner.
Sarah Langmead, Commissioner.
Ann Powell, Commissioner representing Greater Baltimore Committee.
Powell, Commissioner.
John Bullock, City Council Representative to the Commission.
Garrett Power, Commissioner.
And can we have our staff introduce themselves as well?
Lauren Jizik, CHAP staff.
Tyreek Charlouse, CHAP staff.
Hey, Leon, CHAP staff.
Okay, thank you. I'll start with just talking about what CHAP is. The Commission for Historical and Architectural Preservation was established in 1964 and is governed by Article 6 of the Baltimore City Code. Today, CHAP oversees 36 local historic districts, over 200 landmarks, and manages a local historic preservation tax credit program. CHAP helps preserve and revitalize neighborhoods, celebrates city history, and promotes historic preservation as a proven economic driver for Baltimore City. The mayoral appointed commission and its staff are located within the Department of Planning. Our mission is to enhance and promote the culture and economy of Baltimore through the preservation of buildings, structures, sites, and neighborhoods that have aesthetic, historic, and architectural value. CHAP's responsibilities are to designate Baltimore City's historic districts and landmarks, review plans affecting locally designated properties, provide technical assistance and historical information to the public, administer the Baltimore City Historic Restoration and Rehabilitation Tax Credit, conserve and maintain city-owned outdoor sculptures and monuments, conduct historic resource surveys, comply with federal law to provide preservation recommendations for federal and state-funded projects, and to integrate historic preservation recommendations into city and neighborhood plans. Okay, we will start with the agenda. I'm hoping everyone has had an opportunity to review the December meeting minutes. If so, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Hearing none. If we can get an approval of the final agenda for January 9th, 2024.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Excellent, thank you. I guess it's Lauren. If you can start us out with the presentation for the Frederick Douglass High School. Just a reminder, I believe this has come in front of us in November 2023.
It came to the commission 4 times in 2023, and given that and the fact that we are at risk of losing quorum, I'm just going to say for the recording, for anyone who is watching this who wants to know the history, site information, you can review previous hearings because I'm not going to cover that here. So I'm just going to run through all of my slides showing the location, images of the building, his background on the previous proposals, and where we are today is what I'm going to focus on. This is going to be for the construction of 3 new additions. This is the 3rd concept hearing that the commission has seen regarding this, and this is the most recent, and I am hoping, final presentation to the commission for this. The first addition is for a new centrally located entrance for students and visitors. And you can see the iterations of the proposal. This is the proposal that came to you in September, the proposal that came to you in November, and this is the current proposal. The current proposal that you see here, you can see that it is 2 stories, 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 a rectilinear structure, deep portico. With, and it's been really lightened up. And, you know, the entrance, it now has a parapet wall instead of having sort of a heavy cover over the building. And it really has just gotten a lot simpler. It's just gotten a lot simpler in its design, a lot more streamlined. And so that it doesn't introduce new features that are not existing on the historic building. You can see this is another sort of iteration of the design changes, September proposal, November proposal, and now the current proposal. And again, it sort of takes some of the details from the historic building, but then, you know, simplifies it. Again, September proposal, November proposal, and this current proposal. One of the alterations here is that instead of having it be a solid wall, where this addition, you know, attaches to the historic building, they have been able to both pull back the addition slightly, so there's a slight recess, and then also some glazing so that it, you know, there's a visual break between the two. There's also going to be a demolition. The commission approved the demolition of this blank stair tower and construction of a new stair tower and elevator shaft so that the building is fully accessible. You can see the September proposal, November proposal, and the current proposal. And the current proposal, you know, again, simplified the design, brick storefront windows, the proportions of the windows have been further refined, and the canopy has been shrunk down so that it is only located over the primary entrance and doesn't wrap the corner of the addition. And then this is the site of an existing addition that will be demolished, and there will be a new addition. Here's a September proposal, November proposal, and the current proposal. And the current proposal, again, you know, just sort of streamlines, minimizes, simplifies, and really gets at sort of the sort of most critical design aspects from the historic building, and, you know, applies them to the new building, which is still, you know, a new addition, which is still, you know, clearly modern and of its time, but it, you know, sort of is evocative of those historic details. The entrance is divided into 3 bays, down from 8 in the previous version, has paired doors in the central bay, flanked by 2 sets of large group windows in the other bays, and the canopy only exists over that entrance door. So it's a lot simpler. Again, September proposal, November proposal, current proposal. One thing that didn't change that much, but it's that the commission had raised, but it isn't feasible, is, you know, for the sort of taller addition for the gym, the commission had asked that, you know, the massing be pulled away from the rear of Douglas. And that isn't, they were able to pull away the second story and sort of inset it so that it, you know, the massing didn't attach as well. But because of programmatic needs, they weren't able to pull back the entirety of it. However, I do think that, frankly, you know, renderings matter and appearances matter. And so I think that this rendering that they provided here just shows better how this is going to be, how it's pulling back and how it's not really looming over. It is a light touch. And in addition, you know, this is a rear elevation that is not highly visible. And so staff feels that, you know, they have done the best that they can with the limitations that they have in ensuring as sensitive a connection as possible on this rear elevation. This is not a primary elevation. Very few people are going to see this. Application of design guidelines. Staff finds that the proposal meets these design guidelines. And guiding principles of new design. Staff feels that it meets the design guidelines. Same thing for site design and scale and form. These were the ones that I think the commission had the most concern about. I think that, the design has been refined enough and simplified enough that the scale, form, detailings comply. Staff also feels that the proposal meets the design guidelines for building entrances, for roofs, and for materials. And I do know that the commission did have some concerns about using red brick when there is red brick on the existing building and how it's not going to match. The applicant is very aware of that, and they are going to, sensitively choose a brick that is different enough. And staff feels comfortable that we can address that moving forward with the final details. Staff did not receive any neighborhood comments about this most recent iteration. And staff believes that the proposed additions meet the CHAP design guidelines for additions and new construction, are compatible with the historic building in mass and form. They're contemporary in design, but sympathetic to the character of the historic building. And the updates to the design respond to the commission's concerns about the previous designs regarding the connection of the additions to the historic building, compatibility of roof lines and fenestration, and the reorientation of the emphasis of the entrances from vertical to horizontal planes. All of these changes make these additions compatible with the main building, and staff recommends concept approval for these additions with final details to be reviewed and approved at staff level. Thank you, commissioners. Any questions?
Thank you, Lauren. We have two people who have signed up to testify, Fred Mason III and Amy McCarty. Is Fred Mason here? Hello. So, Mr. Mason, if I can ask you to give your name and who you're with, you have approximately 10 minutes to speak if
I will
needed.
not need that. Fred
Alrighty.
Mason III, I'm Director of Design with Baltimore City Public Schools, and thank you to Lauren and the commissioners and to our design team from Samaha for really working through this process to come up with a very cohesive design for the Douglas Briscoe project, and thank you for your recommendation.
Thank you. And is Amy McCarty available? And I apologize if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly.
Hi, I'm Amy McCarty with Samaha Associates, the architects working on the project. And again, as Fred mentioned, we just want to thank you guys for reviewing this. I think we're close to getting it there. We've worked through the comments that we received previously, and just if you guys have any questions for us, let us know.
So commissioners, do we have any questions? Are we ready to vote?
I have a question.
Oh, okay.
What are your thoughts about the brick that would be used for the addition in terms of how it would
So
relate to the existing brick?
Sure. So we were thinking of using kind of more of a multi-tone brick so that, the existing building has kind of more or less one color red. So we would probably
It's
pull.
pretty brown in the photos. So even in a sunny day photo, it's kind of
It's kind of a red brown, but it's
yeah.
more one tone of brick. So we were thinking possibly pull in, use that same red, but then have some varied shades of that to give it a slightly different look than the existing building, so that you do know that it is a new addition and not trying to match You're never going to match the historic brick.
Yeah, but you want to look good too, right? So
Yes,
it doesn't.
correct.
You have to be careful. I think that when it comes to staff review of materials in the future, not only does that need to be considered carefully, but I would strongly recommend that a mock-up be constructed on site in the spot where you're putting the elevation, so that if you have a wall segment, that you can orient it the way that your new addition is going to be, and see with the light on it, how does it really look with the existing building.
Yep,
So that's a suggestion to keep in mind.
sure.
Any other comments?
Can we go to the front, the entry piece front elevation, please? Almost, get there.
Oh, this way.
I do appreciate, by the way, Lauren, the putting together, whoever did it, putting together this is where we came from, this is how we've got, that was very helpful.
Good, I'm glad.
Yes, and I think that this is looking much more appropriate, and so it's definitely coming in the right direction. One suggestion that I did want to make, though, was on the left-hand side of this addition, where we have the blank brick wall, that just with playing with the plane of brick, even subtly, that that could help to keep the rhythm of the facade without it just saying, okay, their last bay is just solid. I think that would strengthen the
You're talking about like
facade
doing
design.
an inset panel or something.
Yeah, just keeping a little bit, and also maybe above the 3 windows that are more flush, just keeping a little shadow line would strengthen that.
Right, because it's four equal bays on either side of the door, but the fourth one on the left is not treated the same way as the rest of them.
Yeah, that's fine. That's my suggestion.
Which you can do in masonry. We're not necessarily saying you have to stick in a window because we know you've got a certain program you're trying to accommodate there.
Sure.
Just one concern to think about. I don't know that it necessarily impacts our approval or not approval, but just because of the extent of the paving and the brick at the bottom and using salt in winter and not kind of having a base, which obviously the existing building doesn't, but there might be some efflorescence or salt issues that happen with all the paving now that's kind of going up to the building. And so I know that's not something we had discussed before, but just when you're looking at kind of the paving, especially up against the historic building, you might want to just have a little bit of a gap to make sure your salt isn't going all the way up against your historic brick.
Sure, and this view's a little deceptive.
Yeah, I
but
figured it was-
There's grass between.
There is a little- okay, good.
Between the historic auditorium there. And
Okay.
Well, I think,
great.
I think it's at the base of the piers, it's just kind of a note about detailing that brick going down to pavement in a heavily, that's where they're gonna be plowing if it ever snows again. Yeah.
Ever. We did get upgraded in our USDA zone, so. Overall, I think the new addition in the back, that new wing is much, much better design-wise. I think it works quite well compared to where we first started as far as kind of blending but being different. So I don't have any issues with that back addition. And the stair tower, while kind of boring, is the back of the building and kind of, is what it is. So I get that one. So overall, much better. I do agree, though, about that kind of one end bay on the main entrance. Much improved, though.
Thank you.
Other commissioners, any comments? Any questions? Thank you, Ms. McCarthy.
Thank you.
So I guess the question, are we ready to vote, or do we want to have additional discussion?
Like to
mean,
move staff recommendation?
Well, so I do think we should say something about the mock-up, making sure that a mock-up's done for staff to review. I agree with you on that one. And then, do you want to say anything about that end bay or
No,
just
I
giving
think
them
just
the comment?
having made the suggestion is all
Yeah,
that was needed.
so I do think we should specify for a mock-up for staff to review, though.
Yeah, I think especially if there is a blend of brick being proposed, that you really do need to see that larger scale. Just looking at one brick or a few bricks in comparison is
Hard.
it's not good. So yeah, we could add that language to the staff recommendation, but otherwise approve it.
Why not let the staff recommendation stand with an understanding that this would be done? Keep it simple.
I can
That
promise to do
Also
that.
seems
'Cause also
to
it's-
work, yes.
It's also the mortar too. It's not just the brick. It's the mortar, it's the mortar joints. It's like the whole.
Yes.
Yeah.
The precast.
Yes, Terry?
Yeah.
Did the commission want to add the terminology to edit the leftmost bay at the front entrance?
No, we decided that that does not need to be added to the final
They
recommendation.
have the
It's
comment,
just
so.
stated for the record at the hearing.
Okay, thank you.
All right, are we ready to vote?
Okay, so I move to approve staff recommendation adding that a mock-up of the proposed wall, brick wall.
We decided we didn't need to add that.
What?
We have Councilman
We just
Bullock's
have.
motion on the floor.
Oh,
Oh,
did
okay.
you do an official motion?
Yeah, it is.
Well, it's going to jump the gun a little bit there, but yeah, we can.
Can we get a second?
Sure, I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? Hearing none, staff recommendation approved. Thank you. Next agenda item is 1420, 1428 West Baltimore Street, Union Square,
Stay a couple more minutes?
Historic District. Thank you.
Let me just talk to everyone. Tyreek. Yes. You gotta do this like in 3 minutes because let's leave or we'll lose our quorum.
Okay. Okay, that is a challenge. It's like hard mode. Mhm. Thank you. Hello, everyone. The request today is to construct a rooftop deck, rooftop stairwell, and elevator shaft pop-up, and remove the historic elevator tower at 1420 to 1428 West Baltimore Street. The applicant is Foot LLC, as well as the owner, and the staff member is myself, Tyreek Charluz. All right, so here is the property within the Union Square District on the northernmost portion. Here's a vicinity map showing the extent of the immediate area. All right, going to the existing conditions. So 1420 to 1426 is a 4-story, 8-bay wide brick building and built in 3 episodes in the late 19th century. The building is southeast corner of West Baltimore Street and North Norris Street and Alley Street. The property is also bound to the north by an unnamed alley. The building is about 83 feet wide and occupies a lot about 96 feet deep, and it has a flat roof sloped towards the rear with a modest brick cornice with an off-center Italianate pediment. The off-centered facade illustrates that this building was constructed in multiple phases. The portion of the building adjacent to North Norris Street, 1420 to 1422 West Baltimore Street, was constructed before 1890 according to the Sanborn maps. This is the portion with the decorative pediment. The remaining 4 bays of the facade were constructed between 1890 and 1901, again based on the Sanborn maps. The first floor of the building contains a painted cast iron storefront with detailing. All right. 1428 West Baltimore Street is a 3-story, 3-bay wide brick Italianate style row house with a flat roof sloped towards the rear with a highly
Hey,
ornate brick
Tyreek.
cornice. Yes.
Could you slow down just a tiny bit?
Yes, I
Appreciate
can.
your time management skills, but.
Thank you.
Yes, I can.
I think the challenge is we're about to lose a commissioner, and in order to vote today and have a quorum, we need everyone.
Don't leave yet, Ann. Don't leave.
No, it's not him.
Yes. The first floor area of the building contains a painted metal storefront with modest detail. The primary block of the building is 3 stories in height and about 16 feet wide and occupies a lot about 96 feet deep. There is a large 1-story rear addition that was constructed in the early to mid 20th century that covers the entire span of the rear property line. All right, here are some of the aerial views showing 1420 to 1428, which is the large 4-story structure, and adjacent to it would be 1428 West Baltimore Street, which would be the 3-story row home. Here are a few of the Sanborn maps showing the different uses and its evolution from row homes into the building that is constructed today. So this building did serve as a warehouse structure. All right, this property was vacant for over a decade. Between 2017 and 2021, under a prior owner, CHAP issued ATPs for roof replacement, structural repair, and replacement of windows. The property was taken into receivership by DCD from the prior owner in 2019, and the property was recently sold to the current owner in 2022. All right, so going towards the proposal, here is a rooftop plan of the proposal. So as you can see on the leftmost portions, you can see with the X, the pop-up for the stair, for the elevator, and where it says stair, you can see the pop-up for the rooftop access. The four boxes you see to the left are the skylights that are on the rear L of 1428, to orient you all. Here is a front elevation. Here's a side elevation. Here's a rendering showing the properties looking northeast. What you see there is the elevator pop-up. The stairwell tower is not visible. As you can see, here's the existing conditions. Here's the rendering, and here are the existing conditions. All right, here's another view looking northwest. As you can see, you won't see any of the pop-ups or stairwell towers from this elevation. As you can see, the stairwell tower has been removed from the rear. All right, here's a few sightline studies. So this is for 1428 West Baltimore Street, so there will be a rooftop deck sitting behind the parapet that will not be visible from the street. All right, here's from North Street. As you can see, the shed building is to the right where the person is standing. So you will not see the railings or the elevator. Yes, stairwell tower here. Here is from West Baltimore Street, looking at the 4-story building. So you will not see the railings, the elevator pop-up, or the stairwell tower from the front elevation, from the main elevation. Here's another view of the entire block. All right, staff used the following guidelines to make a determination. Starting with 1.810. Okay, the rooftop deck railings are black metal pickets posts with metal cables. The decking surface will be wood or tile with wood finish. It is accessed by a new stairwell tower through the building. The roof deck guidelines say new roofs must not be visible from the street front grade along any primary elevation. Both rooftops decks will not be visible from West Baltimore Street, an important commercial corridor. The rooftop circulation towers will not entirely disappear despite their proposed material. This design meets the guidelines. All right, we also use 1.8 alterations and additions. The existing rooftop elevator tower was a 20th century addition to the building, which is not a character-defining feature. The design of the two new rooftop additions are comparably utilitarian in nature, and the additions are at the opposing side elevation. The rooftop additions will be visible from West Baltimore Street, a main city throughway. However, they will not be highly visible as a utilitarian rooftop feature, they are compatible and sympathetic to the building. 2.1. The addition does not mimic a historic style. Rather, it is a utilitarian addition which is compatible with the character of the historic structure. The design seems ample for the structure to carry. 2.2 site design. We believe this plan meets the guideline. 2.3 scale and form. The block is comprised of 3-story flat roof row houses. The addition at 1420 to 1426 increases the height of the building at the side elevation where it is highly visible from West Baltimore Street. The applicant is proposing to remove any existing circulation tower from the rear elevation and move it towards the street into a highly visible elevation. They are also proposing an additional elevator overhead that protrudes above the existing historic roof line. Therefore, the proposal does not meet the guideline. 2.45 roofs. The roofs for both structures at 420, 426 West Baltimore Street and 428 West Baltimore Streets are both low slope roofs and that can accommodate rooftop decks. The deck railing is proposed to be a black metal pickets posts with metal cables. The HVAC condensers will be located on the rear of the roof on 1420 to 1426 West Baltimore Street, which is an appropriate location for them. 2.51 doors and windows. The applicant is proposing new windows openings at the rear. The new doors to access the new rooftop decks. They are also proposing new windows within the existing window openings that match the architectural character of the neighborhood. CHAP staff will continue to work with the applicant to ensure all windows and doors meet the guidelines. The proposal meets the design guidelines. For 2.2, our last one, the proposed cladding for the addition pop-up is an aluminum composite panel. The deck railing is a black metal with pickets with metal cables. The decking surface will be wood or tile with wood finish. There is no historic precedent for metal paneling on buildings in this district, and staff recommends that the applicant explore a masonry material instead. The deck railing material generally complies with the design guidelines, but staff recommends that the applicant explore a lighter color palette for the railings to help make it less visible. The proposal is to remove the existing elevator shaft complied with the design guidelines because it is a utilitarian rooftop addition and is not a character-defining feature of the building. The proposed rooftop additions at 1420 to 1426 West Baltimore Street and 1428 West Baltimore Street meets the CHAP design guidelines for new construction, though staff is concerned about the potential visibility from West Baltimore Street of the rooftop deck and its structural framing. The rooftop deck at 1428 West Baltimore Street would not be visible from West Baltimore Street. However, the rooftop deck at 1420 to 1426 will be somewhat visible because it does not have a setback from the west elevation. The proposed rooftop additions are appropriate in height, scale, and massing. The rooftop addition cladding material does not fully meet the design guidelines, and staff recommends that the applicant explore a masonry material instead. CHAP staff has reached out to Union Square ARC, the Hollins Roundhouse Community Association, Franklin Square Community Association, the Southwest Partnership, and the CPBO. Only the CPBO has submitted a formal letter to CHAP staff. So for staff's recommendation, staff recommends approval for the demolition of the rooftop elevator tower, which is not a character-defining feature of the building. The construction of the two rooftop decks, rooftop stairwell tower, and elevator shaft, pop up with the following conditions.